History remembers names, but prophecy remembers patterns. And Persia is one of those patterns, not fixed in a single moment, not confined to one role, but appearing again and again across time, shifting, adapting, yet never fully disappearing. What first appears as coincidence begins to feel like continuity, a nation named in ancient writings, still present in the modern world, not identical in form, but not disconnected in essence. And coincidence does not repeat itself across centuries with such precision. The texts reveal fragments of this pattern, not perfectly aligned, but aligned enough to raise questions that cannot be easily dismissed. Persia rising within a sequence, functioning as an instrument, enabling restoration, and then appearing again within a vision of what is yet to come. This is not a single identity, not a fixed purpose, but a recurring presence woven into multiple layers of history, each moment distinct, yet connected to something larger. The realization does not come suddenly. It builds gradually, piece by piece, as past and present begin to overlap, as ancient maps and modern borders reflect one another, not as exact copies, but as echoes. The world today moves faster, more connected, more complex than anything that existed before. Yet complexity does not erase patterns. It conceals them, embedding them deeper within systems of influence, alignment, and interaction. A nation is no longer defined only by geography, but by its position within global networks, by its reach, by the role it plays within a system that stretches across continents. And within that system, interpretation becomes careful, because what is seen can be understood in more than one way. Ancient words describe a moment of convergence, nations aligning, forces gathering, a tension building toward something not yet fully revealed. And within that description, Persia appears again, not as a memory, but as a participant. Some see this as a literal future, others as symbolic language, patterns representing movements that repeat in different forms. And this is where understanding shifts, because prophecy is not always a clear map pointing to one outcome. Sometimes it reflects possibilities, patterns that can unfold in more than one way, depending on how events align. The same land that once carried the Persian Empire still carries its legacy: unchanged mountains, unmoved deserts, layers of time resting upon each other, not erased but preserved beneath the surface. Wide within that continuity lies a tension that cannot be ignored. The question of whether history is repeating itself or evolving into something new. The forms change, the systems advance. What was once caravans becomes highways. What was once scrolls becomes digital screens. What was once firelight becomes electric glow. Yet beneath all these changes, the deeper questions remain the same. What does it mean for a nation to appear across time within prophecy? Not once, but multiple times, each appearance different, each role unique, yet connected by an underlying thread. Persia cannot be defined by a single action, because its identity within this narrative is not based on one moment, but on its placement within a sequence that continues to unfold. As the world becomes more interconnected, the idea of isolated influence disappears. A shift in one region creates reactions in others. Movements ripple outward, unseen connections linking distant places, making every action part of a larger system. Within such a world, the presence of recurring patterns becomes more significant, not as a source of fear, but as an invitation to awareness, to observe, to understand, to recognize that some movements are only fully understood after they have already taken place. The greatest shifts in history are rarely recognized in the moment. They become clear only in reflection, after events have unfolded, after changes have settled, after patterns have revealed themselves in full. And yet those patterns were always there, written, preserved, waiting to be seen, not hidden, but not immediately obvious either. The ancient texts remain, carrying words that have outlived empires. It outlived generations, outlasting the rise and fall of nations, holding within them descriptions that continue to echo into the present. Persia's role within this narrative is not a single event with a clear beginning and end. It is a thread that runs through multiple moments, connecting restoration, influence, and future possibility into one continuous line. It has appeared as a force that allowed rebuilding, as a participant within visions, as a presence that bridges past and future, and this continuity suggests something deeper than coincidence. The question is not whether every detail aligns perfectly, but whether the pattern itself continues to emerge in ways that cannot be ignored. And perhaps the most important realization is that this is not presented as a fixed conclusion, not as something that removes uncertainty, but as something that raises a question, one that remains open, one that continues to unfold. Persia's destiny is not locked into a single outcome. It is not confined to history. It is not limited to interpretation. It exists as a possibility, as a pattern that has appeared before and may appear again. And as the world continues to move forward, as systems evolve and connections deepen, that question remains not answered, not closed, but present. Are we witnessing the continuation of something that began long ago? Or are we simply recognizing a pattern that has always been there, waiting to be understood?